Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Carter, and I'm the Dean of the Joseph A. Remy School of Construction, the School of Transportation, and the School of Continuing Education. We have a very special presentation for you today from the Royal Bank of Canada. The first part of our event will be an announcement about a gift from the RBC, and then following up after that, we'll be having our Powering Up panel discussion led by RBC Thought Leadership. But before we begin, I'd like to recognize Dr. Rosia, our President and CEO, and other senior management staff and our friends and family at Saskatchewan Polytech for joining us here today. I'd also like to welcome our special guests from RBC, Kim Ulmer, Regional President for Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nunavut, and Western Ontario, Cynthia Leach, Senior Director, Economic Thought Leadership, as well as our panel presenters, Colin Poular, President of the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Lyle Daniels, Community and Indigenous Director for the Building Trades of Alberta, and formerly from the Building Trades in Saskatchewan. And of course, our very own Brittney Grimsdale, who is the program head for our Women in Trades and Technology here at Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Excuse me. I would now like to call on Dr. Rosia to bring greetings on behalf of Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Dr. Rosia?
Well, thank you, Paul, and good afternoon, everyone. Tawau Hawanin Tanshi Atlanate. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging that Saskatchewan Polytechnic campuses are situated on Treaty 4 and 6 territories, which are the ancestral lands of the Cree, the Saulteaux, Dene Dakota, Lakota, Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis. I'm very pleased this afternoon to bring greetings on behalf of my colleagues and I, and to take the opportunity to thank each of you for attending our event this afternoon. This is a special event for us and for our partner in education, RBC. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. And as Paul has noted, Kim Ulmer is a regional president for Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nunavut, and Western Ontario. Kim is also a proud Saskatchewan Polytechnic graduate. In her role as regional president, Kim is responsible for achieving a best-in-class sales and services experience for all clients in business and personal banking. She is thrilled to lead a large and talented team of over 2,600 individuals. Kim holds an MBA from Dalhousie University. Kim, welcome this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosia. I am delighted to be here with you all this afternoon. And I too would like to also begin by extending and offering my gratitude to the First Peoples of Canada as the customary keepers and defenders of this land. Today, I am coming to you from Treaty 1 land, the original lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. From coast to coast, across our country, I acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of the Inuit, Métis, and First Nation people who all call this nation home. As you heard Dr. Rosia say, I am an alumni, and I know firsthand what a special place Sask Polytech is to build a pathway to a very exciting future. Today's announcement about the Skills Enhancement Training Project and RBC's gift of $450,000 over the next 3 years is not actually about the dollars. It is about recognizing what's possible when we all rally around creating access to thriving future for almost 700 young people. It is about leaning into equity and belonging for diverse communities, including Indigenous, New Canadians, visible minorities, 2S LGBTQ+, women, and people with varying abilities. It is about seeing the power of community when government, academia, and business all come together to help open doors for all of us. And it is about standing back and letting these same incredible young people walk through these doors of opportunity towards a career in skilled trades, showcasing their talents, their determination, and the ideas to a very grateful nation. While there's no cost to participants to attend this program, the rewards to a thriving Canada are truly endless. Thank you so much to our friends, and I heard it said family. It definitely feels like that to us at RBC, to our friends and family at Sask Polytech for always being such a tremendous partner and for being the architects of this journey. We and all of my colleagues across RBC couldn't be more proud to take this walk with you with today's gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ulmer and Dr. Rosia. As Dr. Rosia noted, partnerships such as these are important to address the gaps in the skilled trades and to prepare students to meet the challenges of tomorrow. Our skills enhancement training project aims to increase diversity and provide essential training and essential skills that empower our students for success. And it's RBC's investments like this one that makes all of that possible. The Skills Enhancement Training Project prepares youth for employment in 3 different phases. The first phase covers skill enhancement training aimed to reduce the barriers for vulnerable and at-risk populations. The phase 2 of the project shifts into multiple trade exploration to determine the best path forward for employment opportunities for our students. And in the 3rd phase of this, the students enroll in an applied certificate program with a blended classroom and shop experience. It also includes industry work placements and apprenticeship training credits. Next, I'd like to invite Michelle Ellingson Aylesby, the Manager of Innovative Training Solutions, to share with us the real benefits of this program and partnership. Michelle?
Thank you, Paul. The skills enhancement training projects at Saskatchewan Polytechnic support youth in building their skills in many different trades, and in so doing are truly changing the trajectory of their lives. I know firsthand from my direct work with students, especially those that are faced with multiple roadblocks, that the more support, guidance, and encouragement they receive, the more likelihood that they will finish their training and make an attachment to the labor market, while doing so with self-confidence and the skills to succeed. I am so honored today to be able to introduce you all to three such young people that we were able to support because of this generous gift from RBC. Alyssa, Nakari, and Dalton, 3 youth that come from very different backgrounds, have experienced a variety of challenges and have all been able to obtain employment directly related to the training they received at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, the ultimate goal we have for all of our students. The video clip you are about to watch is a brief highlight of a longer video that will be available following the event. I now simply welcome you to watch and listen to 3 amazing individuals whose lives have been positively impacted because of this gift, which ultimately helps us all by creating a better Saskatchewan for everyone.
If you're in the need of requiring assistance while at school, just start the conversation. It just goes off from there, and it honestly just benefits you while you're in Sask Poly or any post-secondary for that matter. I would like to thank RBC for supporting the co-ed program at Sask Poly. For us, it really benefited us and helped us to further develop ourselves and help us pursue a career for our future.
Yes, for sure. What they are doing to support the youth, I think is great, is amazing. It have helped me a lot, and not only me, my family too. So this is just great. I wish more people and more companies will do the same, because not many people have the chance to go to university or college. So we work hard and we really appreciate what they have done for us.
This course has been amazing. I wouldn't have been able to afford to go to school on my own. Without this, I don't know how I would have, gotten to go to school and stuff. It's great. It's totally changed my life. Like I didn't really ever think I'd have a career, like 5 years ago, but I've got a career now and that is amazing. That means the world to me.
That's why we do what we do, right? Thank you, Michelle, for sharing with us the powerful impact of the RBC investment to our project. And thank you, RBC, for making this project and the dreams of our students a reality. We're all here today because we share a common goal: how we best meet the diverse future skill needs of our region. Many vulnerable and at-risk youth experience significant barriers to education and to gainful employment. This investment from RBC is helping to reduce those barriers and to assist in balancing workforce representation in Saskatchewan. I want to thank RBC for their generous contribution, as well as note that their support of Saskatchewan Polytechnic's annual NO conference, which aims to address essential skills training needs across all programs, as well as their annual contribution to our student scholarships. Thank you very much, RBC. So now we're going to transition. We're going to shift gears to the second part of our event, and that is the Powering Up presentation. I'm pleased to introduce our guest panelists. First is Cynthia Leach. Cynthia is a Senior Director, Economic Thought Leadership for our RBC. In this role, she helps to shape the narratives and research agenda around the RBC economics and thought leadership team's forward-looking economic policy and analysis, covering topics such as the future of work, innovation, and net zero transition. Previously, Cynthia was an executive at Finance Canada and has experience in current economic analysis and fiscal policy. Lyle Daniels is from George Gordon First Nation right here in Saskatchewan. He's made it his personal mission to work with young people to create pathways to long and valuable careers in the skilled trades. For over 8 years, Lyle has worked with Saskatchewan Building Trades Council to develop and pursue opportunities with Indigenous communities. And that's where I first had the opportunity to meet Lyle. Lyle has created and delivered a variety of training to prepare people to enter into the trades and successfully move through their apprenticeship and to achieve journey person status. Lyle has been a key player in the Building Together Saskatchewan initiative, and in the first inclusion, he was also the first inclusion manager that was created at the Building Together and the building trades. Lyle has recently taken on a new role as community and Indigenous leader with the building trades in Alberta, and we certainly wish Lyle all the success with the building trades in Alberta. Colin Poular. Colin, a great friend, colleague, and partner in Saskatchewan. Colin serves as the president of the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. He leads an industry-funded, not-for-profit organization in providing safety training to the construction industry in Saskatchewan. They also provide advisory services and auditing services to more than 9,000 companies in Saskatchewan, residential, commercial, and industrial construction sector in Saskatchewan. The SCSA employs 50 advisory, training, and administrative and corporate staff in key operational bases in both Saskatoon and Regina. In 2019, the organization was named one of Saskatchewan's top employers and received international recognition, being named Construction Safety Experts of the Year in the Prairie Provinces by Build Magazine. Colin's other governance and leadership activities include vice chair of the Regional and District Chamber, Regina District Chamber of Commerce, He's also on the board of directors for the Regina Exhibition Association and the vice chair of Horizon College Board of Governors, just to name a few. I know Colin's a busy guy. Also, Brittney Grimsdale. Brittney is one of our own. She is a program head for the Women in Trades and Technology program right here at Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Brittney's work focuses on providing on-campus support for female students in predominantly male programs, as well as providing workshop opportunities for women to explore non-traditional trades and technologies. Most recently, Brittney has been leading an initiative to address barriers for women from rural communities to access trade exploration. Because she has a red seal, and she's a red seal plumber and has been for over 10 years, she's well aware of the barriers that women in the trades can face. She was part of the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum Task Force for the development of a national strategy for supporting women in trades, and she now sits on the National Women in Mechanical Construction Committee. I'm pleased to introduce Cynthia Leach to present the Powering Up report. Cynthia?
Thank you, Paul, and thank you everyone for having me. Maybe a way into this is when we look at the economy, everyone's talking right now about labor shortages and skills shifts. But what's interesting is that these have not been, new to the skilled trade space, and yet it's something that for a very long time has not been solved. And the stakes of not getting that right are increasingly high. So as we look to build an economy that is more green, that is more digital, it's going to depend on the skilled trades to build it. And that's going to include new technologies that skilled tradespeople are needing to be conversant into it. And if we don't have that, it really could put a speed limit on our economic growth and our prosperity. My team prepared this report, Powering Up. It's another piece in our series called Humans Wanted, where we look at the future of work and jobs and skills, and having, how industry and governments ensure we have the supply of labor to match up with the demand. We talked to experts across the country and looked at data. And I think you will find unsurprising some of the key conclusions. The first immediate priority is the same priority we've had for a while, and it's addressing the impending talent shortage in Canada in the skilled trades. And the reasons are obvious. We have more of the workforce retiring than we're recruiting into the field. We know that the average age of some of the key large skilled trades are quite high. And projections are that by 2028, about 700,000 workers in the skilled trades will retire. And so when we look at recruitment that's not keeping pace, or is being impacted by volatility and recession, like we saw during the pandemic, where apprenticeships fell, and that of course has a long-term knock-on effect. The result is that the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum expects there's going to be a shortage of at least 10,000 workers in nationally recognized red seal trades, over the next few years. And my team took a look at provincially regulated trades and tried to estimate what that could look like, incorporating those other levels of trades. And we found that that 10,000 deficit could swell 10 times by incorporating those other 250 categories. So it's a big problem we've got to address. The second issue is ensuring that we're equipping skilled tradespeople with the skills for the future. Like many other sectors and jobs, skilled trades are being disrupted by digital technologies that are changing tools, and so skills need to change to keep pace. By our estimates, about 25% of Canada's 4 million skilled tradespeople will need to upgrade their skills over the next 5 years amid significant digital disruption. And so these new digital skills, on one hand, can take a different flavor. For some jobs, it's going to really affect the core of what skilled tradespeople are doing. Think working on an electric vehicle versus internal combustion engine vehicle. In other domains, those digital transformation could be, complementary or supplementary. The example I like to give is, a construction worker who's, using a virtual reality headset in a building space to see what the built finished product will look like. These type of technologies are complementary and potentially productivity enhancing, and a way that we can help limit the scale of the labor shortage challenge. But one other thing we wanted, to really emphasize in this report is something we consistently find in our Humans Wanted research, which is that, technical skills are important, but what's also important are those human or professional skills. So, the idea is as technology increasingly takes over some of the manual tasks, that, what is the value that we can deliver except inherently human skills of collaboration, listening, empathy, critical thinking, problem solving. And certainly for many skilled tradespeople who are also entrepreneurs, these are particularly important skills. And the last message of Humans Wanted that continues to apply here is, with the rate of change in sectors that we're seeing, we need a workforce that is agile and can continue to reskill as that sector changes. So, those are the challenges, but what are the opportunities here? And, I want to hear from the panel myself. So I'm just going to try to touch on these a bit briefly, but, clearly representation is hindering the skilled trades. We're not tapping into all the pools of talent that we could be. We know women and immigrants are not represented in the skilled trades in proportion to their representation into society. And so thinking about options or new policy solutions around childcare, for example, that might help change that, or more aggressively promoting trades within source countries for immigration as a good, important, high-paying job in Canada might be what we need to look to. And Indigenous Canadians are the fastest growing youth population, and already have a higher representation in skilled trades, but could continue to be a tremendous source of renewal for the field. The other thing we have to look at is why fundamentally we might be facing these problems, and we still think there's a lot of stigma around the role of skilled trades and what that job represents, a stigma that belies the actual numbers. So if you look at average wages of something I'm sure you all know of many of these fields, that average wages are a lot higher than the national median or average, belying the idea that these are low wage or low skilled works. And so we need to be thinking how at an earlier stage we can embed exposure to skilled trades and information on skilled trades into education curriculums to dispel that harmful stigma. And the other thing, and I'll finish here, is in terms of the upskilling or reskilling challenge, we need to see partnerships between companies and universities, I think, that addresses this challenge, because skilled tradespeople have to keep pace with these changes. Like in many other areas of the economy, what you learn in school is not necessarily what your job is going to look like 10 years from now. And so finding ways that we can do that. And there's opportunities afforded by the pandemic. We talked about recession-proofing the training ground and how virtual technologies, the idea that during the pandemic, education for skilled trades, like other areas, went online. There's new tools that can be developed there that can bring the training and educational system to the skill, to apprenticeships, to people who can be recruited and retained into the skilled trades. I'm going to leave it there for now. I want to hear from our panel. So I'd like to welcome our panel to the virtual stage and start the conversation. I'd like to start by, the first step in the journey to a career in the skilled trades, as I've been talking about recruitment, and specifically what your views are on, why we're not seeing the representation of groups like women, immigrants, and opportunities with Indigenous people, and how these people can be brought into the field. Brittany, let's start with you. I know you entered the skilled trades at a time when you were one of the only women training and working in your field. Since then, you've spent your career helping other women chart that same path. What do you do with the Saskatchewan Polytechnic to encourage more women into the field? And what do we need to be thinking more of in the future?
Thanks, Cynthia. Yes, I received my Red Seal in plumbing and gas fitting in 2009. And so I feel like I can really understand some of the barriers that underrepresented groups, in particular women, feel when they're trying to access the trades. So firstly, I believe that we need to promote the trades as a first choice career. One of these careers that's a fulfilling profession that allows for growth, financial stability, and job security throughout the years. So within our department, Women in Trades and Technology at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, we do this in a few different ways. Firstly, it's extremely helpful to provide avenues to explore hands-on learning in an inclusive, safe, and comfortable environment that really allows people from these groups to learn authentically. So an example that we have is our Women in Trades exploratory course, in which we explore a day in 8 different trades. So when we go through a course like this, it gives potential tradeswomen an idea of which trade, if any, are a good fit for them. And it gives them a lot more confidence in their skills and even working with tools and those hands-on safety components. So we make sure to showcase role models that come from similar backgrounds, so that those from the underrepresented groups can identify with and see themselves in those careers. And that's why we recruit Journey Women to be our instructors for these courses. So we've seen many women now entering a trades career with confidence after exploring their options. And quite a few of our instructors end up acting as mentors then to the upcoming female apprentices. We know mentoring is always such a huge component in success in the trades, and I think in all sort of sectors. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that studies have really shown that early exposure to career opportunities gives young people a more broader perspective and access to more choices when they go to choose a career later on in life. And so camps like the one we run for girls, exploring trades and technologies, it's a trades camp. It exposes them to a multitude of trade activities and prospects that will hopefully make it more likely for them to consider one of them as a future career. And I guess lastly, I think it's really important to give those from rural communities the same opportunities to attend programming like the ones I just mentioned without having to leave their home base. Which is why we've invested in a trades workshop trailer, which allows us to bring all of these trade workshop exploration opportunities out to these communities, and they can learn these skills right at their home base within their community. And this really removes the location and transportation barriers that would usually preclude their involvement. I know Lyle and I have talked about this quite a bit in the past, and how this is a big need moving forward.
What is your view, Brittany, on expanded childcare options? Do you view that as a barrier in this space?
Absolutely. I think, I do feel like there is a little bit of a shift in the way that our society is raising our children, and the men are stepping up to take a lot more initiative. But I do feel that in general, it does fall on the women to make the arrangements and to be that provider for the children. So having funding opportunities, or even places where the women feel like their children will be safe to be left, allows them to go off and get that education, and with that clear mind and that comfort that they can learn while their children are safe. So I think it's a huge, huge part of it as well, yes.
Lyle, turning to you now, can you build on that and speak to what you view as the opportunity for Indigenous people in trades and barriers, for example, that Indigenous women may face to entering the sector? Lyle, are you there?
You know what? I thought somebody was in charge of that. But, okay, so let's start again. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. The one thing that I find that is really necessary to view when it comes to recruiting Indigenous young people, you have to look both on reserve, off reserve. You have to look at the background of where our young people are coming from. We always need to realize, if you're going to be working and dealing with a First Nations young person, that chances are they may have went to residential school, their parents may have went to residential school, or their grandparents may have went to residential school. As much as we tend to concentrate on that, it brings back a whole large number of barriers and understandings of how they can see themselves being successful in a career. They only see on reserve, for example, carpenters, plumbers, and electricians. And in the building trades, we have 13 to 15 different trades. We have to give them an opportunity to try as many trades as they're able to. And when it comes to our young girls, I'm a firm believer that our women is an untapped resource right now. And I always have the attitude that, and I tell people, men get the job done, women get the job done right. And when it comes to the trades that are technical ones, like welding, we find that women excel so much in those particular fields, and let's take advantage of that. Let's help them understand their own potential as well, because they don't get the opportunity to try out being a welder, being an iron worker, or whatever, because they don't see that, especially on reserve. So those type of barriers over and above their own personal barriers of things like not being able to have a driver's license, a vehicle to travel, to get to work, are simple things that we always need to address. So my attitude in helping young Indigenous people, if they're off reserve and on reserve, get a handle on what their personal barriers are going to be successful. Help them develop a path forward in whatever career that's going to be. Help them research 3 or 4 different trades that they are very interested in, because they may get in one, next thing you know, they're at a work site and they say, geez, I want to do what that person's doing. Find out they could do that. You know, so we just need to be able to be open to an opportunity to help them and guide them in a way that's going to be worthwhile in the long run. That needs to get to the community. That needs to get to the leadership. That needs to get to the on-reserve schools, for example. We need to give teachers the opportunity to help them and guide them. If you want to be an electrician, you better be getting the high marks. Or if you're struggling in that and you still want to get into career, let's get you in a trade that's more labor intensive and not necessarily needing to have the high marks in education. All of that, our young people don't have a clue. And so developing, helping them develop a path forward is going to be the key to starting them in any career. But also, we need to guide them and help them understand the importance of apprenticeship. Because apprenticeship, to me, is the starting block of a career. And if they don't take that, our people are going to be used for labor. And that's the one thing I really hate about the construction world, is our people used for labor. I'll just leave it at that.
You made me think of something a while, and I think Brittany kind of touched on it too, which is what opportunities might exist with new approaches to bridge some of that gap. We also did, a separate report looking at Indigenous youth and, equipping them with digital skills and what that could do, for welfare and economic growth. And one of the things that was interesting to me is, for example, was a pilot program a couple of years ago about mobile learning labs. Yep. Because what we heard in some of those prior consultations is some people, it's a big move to leave your home in a rural area or on a reserve, for example, to go to a central area to take training. So what is the opportunity in these new digital or other means to, reach recruits where they are?
Well, in certain places in Saskatchewan, for example, and again, I also want to reiterate, even though I work for the Building Trades of Alberta, I'm a Saskatchewan boy. I'm also, I'm Indigenous, and I go where our young people need help. So I don't follow the colonial way of provinces. I follow the treaty territories, our First Nations communities. Don't separate me into Saskatchewan and Alberta. I'm helping our young people. I just wanted to throw that in. But one of the things that I really think is important is when you look at certain projects that are coming up in Saskatchewan, where, for example, the best one I can give you right now is BHP at Jansen. You have a large number of First Nations that surround that particular place, and we all need to realize that our young people on reserve, they don't want to leave the community. They're so used to living on the community. So what do we do next? Well, maybe they don't necessarily need to have a driver's license and a vehicle to get back and forth. There's going to be a camp there, but give them an opportunity. In some of these places in Saskatchewan, why don't we have a bus going from community to community to community to pick up people to go to a work site? And I'm still waiting to see that happen. Another example would be like Rocanville, and there's like 4 communities. Why aren't we picking up people on a bus and taking them to whatever career they're wanting to look at? And that's the changing way we need to do business. And taking the opportunity for those people that want to stay home, there is that opportunity. But you know what? There's going to be the small few that say, you know what? I want to go to outside my community to go work. And when they get the taste of money, what's going to happen is they're going to realize they can work wherever they want. They can root wherever they want and live wherever they want. They just need to learn that they're going to be working all over the place.
Colin, what are your thoughts on recruitment into the field? What are you seeing as other opportunities?
Yeah, thanks, Cynthia. I think it's exciting following Brittany and Lyle for sure. First of all, the fact is that companies, organizations, they're recruiting globally. And we're in a time and space where the competition for talent is becoming more and more fierce. And while people are looking globally, our challenge is to be able to deliver locally. And so, a lot of what both Lyle and Brittany talked about in terms of trying to find and seeing the source of talent that we have available right here, and helping young people and anyone new to this particular sector to understand that sometimes there's some fallacies that we've kind of grown up with in terms of visualizing somebody who's working in the skilled trades. They've got to be big and burly and be able to carry large pieces of equipment, and some of the things that we may have been images that we put in our minds, but really to understand that the construction industry and the skilled trades, the range is dramatic. The use of technology, the modernization of techniques and materials that are being used, it's an absolutely fascinating field for somebody who, if they've only seen a carpenter and they may have just a picture of what that is, but there is so much more. Having the use of wearable technologies, the concerns about safety. It is there are inherent risks to the trades. However, we've also learned techniques on how to be very safe in it. And so it can be very attractive, can be very lucrative with respect to, particularly respect to women stepping into trades, especially the ones that may have been maybe historically not ones that you would have seen large numbers in. The attention to detail, the style is something that's being really valued. Particularly as we're building modern structures, more modern structures, and in housing for sure. So there's that piece. And then the pandemic's kind of brought forth a few things that I think we saw maybe 5-10 years down the road, and all came in about a week, where suddenly people were forced to be online and online learning, and we're very much involved in instructor-led online training, which was part of basically a 5-year plan, and we had to turn that plan on in just a few days. But it allowed an opportunity to be able to reach communities where travel to get educated would be a barrier. And with Saskatchewan's population particularly being fairly dispersed, this is really a whole new area that people can be close to their communities and get education. Now, it doesn't replace the hands-on element, but it does give people a valuable introduction to the trades. And I think it's that understanding there's an opportunity to enter, but there's also opportunity for development, because there's still need for leadership in these roles, as you talked about earlier, Cynthia. Critical skills, critical thinking skills, leadership development, coaching, the soft skills, and to be able to lead a team, to motivate a team, to be able to meet deadlines, build a better product, become more innovative. These are kind of the elements that we look at both with women, Indigenous people, but also people who are new to Canada, or maybe considering coming to Canada, that there's an opportunity and a space there as well.
So Colin, I completely agree, and I want to come back to you in a couple of minutes just on how we can do that better and what's the role of industry and education. But first, I want to bring Brittany back in, because I'm curious, in the 10+ years you've been in this space, what are you seeing this in your field, the shifting skills and technologies?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, because I think a lot of industries have gone, in the past, we've gone from heavy materials, and like Colin said, everybody has this idea in mind that you need to be big and strong and burly to get into the trades. And as we've moved forward here with more advances in technology and more innovative solutions, we're seeing different ways to do things. And it's a really important thing for us to bring to our underrepresented groups, I think, is to expose to them the fact that things are changing. We are seeing a lot more of these skills in demand. And if we can bump up those essential skills and get them on board and reduce that stigma of what a person in the trades look like, I think we'll be way ahead in our recruitment efforts for sure.
Great. Lyle, what's your take on this?
Well, technology is technology. The young people are going to easily tackle that as they go along, and we just need to give them opportunities to try those. But you know, some of the things that I'm thinking about when I'm listening is there's also some practical, personal things that a lot of our young Indigenous youth and our young Indigenous women are going through right now that really needs to be addressed. And Brittany and I have gone through it, trying to recruit women to our programming. And that's, and part of my language, the crap that they have to deal with on the outside of training, the outside of eventually going to work. What are we doing? What are we doing to ensure that their aftercare and their personal side is looked after, so they can concentrate on the work that's out there right now? That to me is a holistic view of how we need to help any young, especially Indigenous young people. We need to make them strong about who they are through their culture, traditions, and ceremonies, and their language, if they're able to. And if we're able to build that within them, they're going to have that incredible sense of pride. But not only that, we need to ensure that they are looked after at the work site, because there's still racism out there. There's still all kinds of things that they encounter when they go to a work site, and we need to prepare industry. So it's not only recruiting, but it's preparing industry. And what I do is I provide Indigenous awareness training for industry. They need to know that the reason why there's Indigenous people there is because that's the reason why you want to bid to do the work on a construction site. And so you need to teach the workers, you need to teach the people that are working side the Indigenous people. You got to remember, we got this work because of the Indigenous people that are working along beside. Learn to be brothers and sisters with the people that we're working with. And that's in the long run is going to make it so that we have that strong business focus. It's not social reason. The social reason why we're bringing in Indigenous people now is now the business reason. And that's the only way I see the future in anything that we're going to do Indigenous wise.
So for Colin, last word, because we're running out of time. I'm sure we could talk a lot longer, but last word, what is the role of industry in all this, and in recruitment and reskilling the workforce, and where are there opportunities?
Yeah, you know, it certainly from the preparation of the workplace, you know, as Lyle talked, but that's an important element. But you know, companies, every business in the construction industry likes to talk about the awards that they've received, the recognition that they get from their customers as a way of presenting their reputation. And you know, when we're recruiting people, one of the things that people are looking for is they want to know beyond the paycheck, because they're, especially when you're in a competitive environment, it's beyond the paycheck that they're looking for. Is this a place that I feel welcome? Is a place that I can feel part of a team, that I can have personal and professional growth, and you know, can I work alongside the persons who I'm paired up with, or the team members? If I don't do that as an employer, if I'm not monitoring that and working on that as a leader in an organization, the fact is you're never going to be able to maximize your benefit out of it. So you're going to see higher turnover and these kinds of things that companies are really concerned with today. So, you know, I support both what Brittany and Lyle have talked about here, and I think they've made some great points.
Well, thank you, panel. I'll hand it over to Paul Carter, the Dean, to wrap up.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Please, everybody, join me in a big round of applause and a heartfelt thank you to RBC for their generosity to support skills training at Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Thank you, Kim, Ulmer, Cynthia, and our panelists, Lyle, Colin, and Brittany, for the great discussion on a very important topic. So thank you again so much. On behalf of Dr. Rosia, our senior—
Paul, if you don't mind, can I interrupt you for a moment?
Certainly.
I would just like to express some thanks as well. I think very appropriate. And certainly thanks to all the panel members. That was outstanding. And as was pointed out, I think we could spend the rest of the afternoon talking about this very relevant and important topic. But I would like also the opportunity to thank Kim. Kim, on behalf of all of my colleagues at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, thank you for everyone at RBC for your generous gift of support today. I want you to know that your donation has and will have a tremendous impact on our students. Students who will one day become our graduates, who, as was discussed today, are so valued and so essential at workplaces throughout Western Canada and beyond. The funding is critical because it reduces barriers to education and employment, something that I'm very passionate about, our panelists, and I know RBC is as well. This has been demonstrated time and time again through the power of the Future Launch program. Changing lives through education would not be possible without commitment and generosity of organizations like RBC. And for that, we thank you. So Paul, I'll turn it back to you, but I just didn't want to close out without saying thanks to Kim and RBC.
Thank you so much. It's a privileged partnership. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. And no problem, Dr. Rosia, you're the boss. You can interrupt anytime. But so on behalf of Sask Polytech, our senior management team, I'd like to acknowledge and thank all of you folks who took the time to join us today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. It was a very good discussion, a very important discussion, and thank you to the panelists for that. And thank you as well to the media who attended today's announcement and panel discussion. Thank you, everybody, and stay safe.